Hey guys, Brantley here again with 30 Minute Fisherman. Well guys, I'm coming to you today to talk with you about another little bait right here, one I got in my hands. And guys, this bait is the Bill Norman Lures Flat Broke. Now, you know, I've been able to find these lures. I think the first time I saw them was at Walmart, but I've seen them in tackle shops also. And Tackle Warehouse has them for $6.99. I checked earlier. But this little bait right here, it's one of those baits I almost didn't want to do this video because I haven't heard a lot of people talk about this bait. Me personally, I haven't seen a lot of people fishing it, but this is an awesome bait. My personal experience with it has been it's really good, particularly this time of year, and on into really right up into winter when the fish get real lethargic, except it's not a real deep diver. This thing runs about 3 to 4 feet deep. You know, it depends. I mean, that all depends on, you put on 10-pound test, fluorocarbon. I think you can get down around 4 or 5. You could even possibly go 8-pound test, but I don't typically do that. Usually I'm using 10-pound or heavier line. But anyway, this little bait, you see it's got that joint right there in the middle, and it just, it literally kind of, when it's swimming through the water, it swims just like that. It's just coming right through the water, the back is coming back and forth, and you get this little bit of head wiggle on the front. It's really almost like a swim bait type of action, and it's more of a subtle action. From my experience. The only thing is, too, though, is it's a subtle action, but at the same time, all the baits that I've fished so far have a tendency to hunt. And if you guys don't know what that means, when you're fishing a crankbait, that crankbait is sitting there running, and it'll just go this way, and then it'll go that way. That's called hunting. But a good bait, what it'll do, a really good bait, is it'll go along, it'll hunt, and it'll come back. The problem is some baits will go way over here and stay over here. That's not what you want. You want it to be center, go this way, and then come back to center. Go to the right, come back. And what that basically does is this bait has its own built-in action. So you don't have to sit there and start it and stop it and pop it along like you do a lot of times. You don't necessarily need this bait to crash into something to get that reaction strike, because it's going to do it on its own. It's got its own built-in action. But again, guys, like I said, this is a bait I do not hear a lot of people talk about. Don't know why. It's better for me and you guys if you buy this bait, because I think what you're going to see is a lot of people are not buying it and do not fish this bait. But like I said, right now, as unfortunately, here I'm at in South Carolina, it really hasn't cooled down yet. We're starting to get a little bit cooler nights. Had a couple little cold fronts, but it's been fairly warm. But still are seeing some fish moving shallow and so on and so forth. But the colder it gets, the more I watch these temperatures start falling. And of course now the time has changed, so the days are getting shorter, all this good stuff. So it's coming, and it's a lot of times this time of year, it's like that switch is just going to flip on. The light switch is just going to flip, and the fish will be feeding up like crazy. But anyway, the colder the water seems to get, and right now, like I said, now it depends where you're fishing, because this thing does not run very deep. But even in the wintertime, depending on where you are, as I reiterate that, like where I'm at here, the fish don't always go that deep in the winter. They don't necessarily get real deep because the water doesn't freeze down here. It's, if we get some couple days of 30-degree weather, that's really cold, and every once in a while it'll get into the teens. But, typically the winter temperatures are, say, maybe 30-something degrees in the morning and warm up to 40s, 50s during the day, and then they'll drop down in 30s at night, something like that. So So my point is the water doesn't get extremely cold and the fish don't go really deep. You know, there are a lot of places where the fish will stay in that, 5 to 6 feet deep of water, and I can continually catch them right on through the wind on this, except, of course, I slow my retrieve way down and just, grind it along. Just throw it out there and just reel it nice and slow, and it's just sitting there, doing its thing, swimming along. And also, this thing has some good rattles in it. You can hear that. Almost like a little one knocker type of rattle in it. But anyway, guys, get you some of these baits and try them. I mean, you can see it there in my hand. See, it's got a profile that kind of looks like a shad. They have I think it's called a bull brim color one. Looks just like a bluegill. This is the copper green color. And the only thing I've done is, I've had on videos before, I threw that little bit of chartreuse in there, okay? Out of the package, this bait does not have this chartreuse on it. But still, it's a good color. It's because it's got this, like, the copper green, and it kind of fades into that bone on the bottom. But anyway, guys, get you some of these baits. Try them. One other tip I almost forgot. Like I said, this bait does have a tendency to hunt really well. But for some reason, I've noticed all the ones that I have taken out of the package, me personally, they tend to kind of run real crazy at first. I mean, but like not in a good way. They just run over here, run over. So you have to take a couple seconds to tune it. And when I say tune it, that's where you take the little, not the split ring, but the eye right there that the split ring is attached to. Hopefully you guys can see that. The eye right there the split ring attaches to. What you do is, let's say if this thing's running too much to the right, you just take your pair of pliers and you bend a little bit to the left. If it's running too much left, you bend a little bit right. And then, like on these baits, you just you have to throw it out, fish it in fairly clear water, or keep your rod tip high and reel along and watch which way it's going. You're going to see if it has a tendency to go to the left or go to the right. And just keep playing with it until you get that hunting action like I'm talking about. And you're going to see it, run off to one side and then come back straight, and run off this way and come back straight. And once you get that, just stop messing with it. Just leave it alone. Don't tune it anymore. Don't worry about it running off to the left, as long as it comes back center, or left or right, vice versa. But if let's say it's running off to the right and it comes back center, don't let it bother you just running off to the right. You want it to do that, as long as it'll come back straight again and then come over here, and as long as it's doing that. You just don't want it to go over here and and just be like zigzagging and going crazy. Now you want it to run a little bit straight and then come over here and then come back, and then that's what you want. Well, anyway, guys, sorry I've been out for a little while. Just had some things going on. Sometimes life gets crazy, but it is what it is. But anyway, guys, get your hands on some of these baits. Try them. Always remember, this is the day that the Lord has made. Get out here and enjoy these great outdoors that the Lord has given us. Tight lines, God bless, and I'm out.